Hey kids, it's Jurassic James and Jurassic Explains. So we're looking at Stegosaurus, but not just any Stegosaurus, the Hammond Collection. So here's the thing. I've already done a video on Stegosaurus. I'll put a link at the end of the video, or in the description. But so the history of Stegosaurus discovery, etc., etc. But I wanted to focus on this particularly. So the Hammond Collection, if you don't know, in Target are like you go and buy the Jurassic Park or Jurassic World toys, and they're kind of like the kid friendly, easy to get. And then the Hammond Collection is like the exclusive, kind of like the Black Series and Star Wars, the exclusive figures. They're usually like $5 to $10 more, depending on the size of the figure. So I wanted to kind of go over that real quick. But the first thing I want to point out to you, kind of a recap of my old Stegosaurus video, is this is my first Stegosaurus. You see, children, if you're watching, I was born in the 1900s. The last century. And toys back then were not as diverse as they are today. And so this is the example. I mean, honestly, you can go. I'm pretty sure my parents went to what do you call it? You may have heard of Kroger's. I'm not sure where you are in the country. Kroger's in Texas, you have H-E-B. There's a store called Gerland's in Channelview, Texas, and they had a little pack of dinosaur toys on the wall. And that was like my first dinosaur toys when I was, wouldn't choke on them. And they got me bigger ones, of course. But this is that little guy, this simple little thing. So lo and behold, when Jurassic Park came out in 1993, I remember. My brother was in the military. He took me to see it, and my nephew and my and I remember it was funny because we went. Parents, know this: do not take your children to the toy store before the movie. Take them after the movie. And so one of my biggest mistakes was that my brother was like, "Which toy do you want?" And I picked the Stegosaurus because I like Stegosaurus. I should have picked the T-Rex. I didn't know any better. I did get the T-Rex. She's up there, right there. There she is. Can you see her? She's kind of in frame. So the idea is that I picked the Stegosaurus. So here's the thing. As a human child, I did not know what this channel was about. What I mean is the idea that a toy maker would just make a toy without like talking to a scientist. I didn't know that. Like, to me, I thought if you're like you have toy elephants and giraffes and dogs, why wouldn't you consult someone? So when I saw the Stegosaurus toy, I remember seeing the two tail spikes. So they have the plates, right, and the spikes, and I remember thinking there's only two. Maybe there's some species of Stegosaurus I don't know about. Like, I remember my friends and people I've managed have told me I'm very introspective. So when something is weird, my first thought isn't like some people, well, that's wrong. My first thought is usually like, well, what did I do wrong? What did I misinterpret, right? And so it turns out the toy was just wrong. And in general, it's really cool that the feet are correct. They have actually, mostly, the hands are correct, the forelimbs. There's two longer digits and two smaller. That's true of Stegosaurus. Maybe not that long, but proportionally the first two were longer than the second two. The toes, there should be 3 toes. That is incorrect. There's 4 here. But what made this such a special toy was, one, it's my first Jurassic Park toy, but 2, that it had this rubbery skin. I remember that. And then this came off, down damage. And what made Jurassic Park toys stand out was, literally the trademarked idea of the JP symbol. So the dinosaur was labeled, like branded JP with a number. And the number is correlated to how many were in the line or whatever, this specimen. And they would argue if it's not, the tagline was, if it's not Jurassic Park, it's extinct. Now, why is that brilliant? Because, some marketer created this, of course, but the idea is that dinosaurs in most movies before Jurassic Park were going to be on some island or in space or some pocket of some valley or something like that. And in the Jurassic Park universe, it was like, yeah, they're dead. They went extinct, minus birds. But if you see dinosaurs now, we made them. And that was kind of like the technology of genetic engineering changed that story. My first lecture in 2016, my dad went to it. I was explaining that. I remember he was so proud of me. I was like, the idea that it changed everything. So now in dinosaur movies, they can just be genetically created. That they don't have to be some hidden valley or something, right? And the other thing is rubbery skin and the fact that they have dino damage. The skin comes off, and that was a really big deal. You understand, in the 90s, that was a really big technology. Now, what my friend here is missing on the little face is there is no beak. And if you are a plant-eating dinosaur and you're not a long-necked sauropod, you had a beak of some sort. Triceratops, Stegosaurus, and Ankylosaurus, some kind of bill or beak or structure, right? And this guy has a fleshy nose like that. But other than that, oh, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 plates in the back, not 17. But other than that, still pretty cool. One of my favorite toys. I just like it's really cool. First, Stegosaurus toy. Now, why does this matter to the storyline here? Because in the Jurassic Park novel, they encountered a sick dinosaur. It was a Stegosaurus. That's why the toy was there. But in the movie, Steven Spielberg the director made a Triceratops. And so the idea here is that was obviously it was a very impressive scene, a very touching scene. On that note, I will say that many children apparently wrote Steven Spielberg saying how upset they were. There was not Stegosaurus in the movie with Triceratops. I'm pretty sure the Triceratops kids didn't write him how happy they were they got their dinosaur. I don't know. Public opinion, right? So in Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World, they made sure, actually it's not Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World, it's The Lost World Jurassic Park. They made sure to put Stegosaurus in there, and I remember this toy coming out, and it was a big scene. They were too big, the ones in the movie, and I remember seeing this and thinking, I can't wait to buy that toy. And I remember when Walmart had just showed up where I lived. I remember it was funny because when Walmart showed up, all my friends were like, "Oh, Walmart's coming, Walmart's coming," and I was like, I had no idea what it was. And I was like, "What's Walmart?" And they're like, "What is Walmart?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what is it? I don't know what it is." Like, it's a store with everything in it. And they couldn't really describe it really well, which shows how they're sycophants. The point is, this guy has 5 fingers and then 4 toes. So that's fun. And they're all equal size. Yeah, whatever. But the dino damage here is harder plastic here, and it came off like that. You can still see the rib. Well, actually, the top of the scapula and a couple of ribs. The main thing to point out, the plates are not... Actually, it's kind of funny that... Let's see, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So too many plates. The tail spike. The tail spike individually is a spike, but the 4 of them are now colloquially called in paleontology a thagomizer, a reference to Far Side Comics. There's a picture of a PowerPoint presentation or projector presentation with cavemen and Stegosaurus tail saying, "Watch out for the thagomizer," named after Phineas Stag or whatever the caveman who clearly was obliterated by one. Humans not live with Stegosaurus. Disclaimer. But so this is the thagomizer. So I remember what made it annoy. Actually, that's weird. It's gotten like it. So here's why this is weird. My biggest complaint, and I was intending on ranting about this, is that the skin on the tail was kind of melty and falling apart. That was a big thing like 10 years ago, and it seems to be fine. And I'm like, did I buy another one? I didn't remember. Because I know you can't believe this, but all the dinosaurs you see, they're all along here too. They're here and they're there. It's bad. And I know them all. And so I was like, I didn't get another one, but yeah, the tail seems to be fine. But if I remember correctly, you push this plate. So you push that plate and the tail moves, right? Or it's supposed to. Remember, this toy is like, see, this is 2026. This toy is like 30 years old. When you say it out loud, it's kind of messed up. So, okay, so, I just, to say it out loud, the movie came out in 07, this is a year before, the summer or whatever, and so the Jurassic World line comes out, and they have the Stegosaurus, and they're a prominent part of the movie, and I can't remember how it's supposed to do a thing. It was one of these plates, I think, moved it. Nope, is it that one? No, is that just a dino thing? I totally forgot about this. I just was bragging about how, oh, there it is. You push down. So you push down, the tail does that. The only thing to point out, the tail isn't correct because the plates, I mean, it's correct to the movie version, but the spikes do not sit up. They actually sit more out like that. But anyway, they also had the baby that came with a separate pack with Sarah Harding. And of course, to my knowledge, for the genus Stegosaurus, we do not have body fossils of baby Stegosauruses. We have trace fossils. There's an adult footprint set attributed to Stegosaurus, and some babies it appear to be going along with it, same direction. But again, we can assume that, let's count their plates. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So they're pretty set on 22 at this point. Anyway, so we can assume with a baby, tiny nose, big eyes. Here's the thing. Baby animals have the bigger eyes because your eyes actually don't grow that much, at least for humans. And so, like, when you're a baby, you have really big eyes and you have a tiny nose, and then you get bigger and these things, you know. And so, technically, your body grows around your eyes. So, your eyes are proportionally a bigger percentage of your body, you know, of your body, and you grow around them. So, that's why adult eyes seem smaller than a baby eye, because the baby's gotten bigger. Um, Overall, it's a trick, because what happens when you see an animal with a tiny nose and big eyes and high pitched noise, it makes you want to like take care of it and give it free resources and food, etc. And then right around age 2 for humans, we realize, oh, they're annoying, but it's too late. We're to commit it. That's a joke for those of you who don't understand humor. Let's see. So to the main event, we have our Hammond Collection Stegosaurus. The box is admiring it's written here and on the back. It says, admiring the distinctive plates and spikes, tail, Dr. Sarah Harding comes up and close to a young Stegosaurus while trying to capture a photo. The noise from her camera causes the Stegosaurus herd to go and on the attack. Now, we get the official scissors of Jurassic James, the one and only. Dun, dun, dun. And it's safe, and we're going to free this beast. There's a picture of the scene there with Julia Moore playing Sarah Harding. Oh wait, we'll just do a razor thing here. Easy. It's not surgery. Look at it. I'm just doing this. And you know, I think I got mine on discount. But like these guys are like, I can't remember the number exactly, but like $20, $17, and then this is like $25. So it's not much of a, it's not that, I mean, big of a difference when comparing quality of the animal, of the toy, and huge tail. Bits in here. So, as always, my first, the prime Stegosaurus. Let's see, pick that. Not rocket science here. Plug it in. Nope. Wait for it. Maybe it is rocket. And so, okay, so this guy here. So, by perspective, there is clear articulation here, here. The head can go around, the tail does a little thing. This guy is just squishy, so it bends with the rubber, with his rubber. This one has no articulation, except for the tail sort of moving. The tail should do that, but it's 30 years old, so, you know. So this guy, or gal, has 4 feet. So elbow and knee movements, ankle and wrist movements can twist like this. There's 5 fingers. That's incorrect. And they're all elephantine, all the same size like that. There should be well, it's these 2 fingers first, but 2 long ones, 2 short ones. But it's this way. They don't have a pinky per se, and then 3 toes, but they have 4. And so that's what you're seeing happening here. But its goal is not to be a real Stegosaurus. Its goal is to be the Jurassic Park. Or Jurassic World now, Stegosaurus. Oh, the knee doesn't go that far forward. Okay. And so, this guy. Look at that. And so, there it is. So, it looks like what you saw in the movie. So, that was a goal of this toy. And just to go over the basics, if you missed the other video, Stegosaurus herbivore, lived in late Jurassic, North America, about 145 million years ago. Found in Colorado, Wyoming, that region, in the Morrison Formation, alongside Allosaurus, Diplodocus, Brachiosaurus, Apatosaurus, Brontosaurus, Camarasaurus, all those guys. And so the plates, let's count plates. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So Jurassic World has committed to Stegosaurus having 22 plates. This guy was the most accurate there. Also, they're not quite, and I like that they did this, they're not 2 by 2 per se, they're kind of staggered. And the name Stegosaurus means roof lizard because the plates in the back are like a roof tile. And so, good point. Let's see. The tail, okay, so it rotates like this, of course, where it plugs in. But there is thick rubber that has a seam, some kind of a metal or something on the inside to keep some shape. So yeah, pretty cool. Stegosaurus had about 45 tail vertebrae. So how do you know that? Because it says so in papers and I counted the specimen. And so it's a lot of articulation. So my example is, I say articulation, the tail does not speak very well. The tail actually can move a lot. And where the Ankylosaurus have a giant club that just breaks things, these guys are fencers. And I'm not sure if I said in my last video, but last Stegosaurus, that was a couple years ago. But the tail can be used to aim. And say, for example, you had a Stegosaurus predator, a known Stegosaurus predator, Allosaurus. They often find holes in this part of the animal that match the tail spike, like that. And so if you were to ask Dr. Robert Bacher, what is the most deadly dinosaur, he would tell you, not T-Rex, not Spinosaurus, not Giganotosaurus, but actually Stegosaurus, because those kind of injuries are really bad. And I always like to point out that carnivores hunt when they're hungry. Herbivores are just always aggressive. They're always afraid of being eaten. Crocodiles and crocodiles and lions and hyenas are dangerous, but hippos are far more dangerous because a lion can be full and go, oh, I don't care about those people in a Jeep over there on tour, but then a hippo, it's just Tuesday, they flip over your boat because herbivores are more aggressive. And so Stegosaurus falls within that line. Now, I'm not saying it's a more aggressive animal per se. It could have been all a defensive, that, we find these injuries in Allosaurus, it's defensive, but the thing is, that's a hole that big in your body. And there's this thing called the Geneva Convention after World War One. They're like, you can't use certain weapons because they're too horrific. And that's why blades today are very flat, but they go in and go out, you can sew it up easily. A hole does not heal as easily. So that's why Stegosaurus is so dangerous. And that being said, I think this is a pretty cool model. I like it. It's really neat. It's got a heft to it too. Not too heavy, because, it's healthy for children. But obviously, I think a lot of toy lines are going towards selling things for adults. I suppose. On that same note, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you guys later.